When I hear news of Kid Cudi checking himself into rehab for depression and suicidal thoughts, I begin to think about the idea of art imitating life. And if an artist puts out a certain type of work, is it a reflection on their mind state, or is it separate from who they are? Is it the performance side of yourself, and is it the actual self that's completely separate, and your music doesn't speak to your mental condition? After hearing Speeding Bullet to Heaven, it became clear to me and my podcast co-host Dominic Rabrun that Cudi was going through a depression. There are some songs on the album that suggest that, you know, when this all ends, you know, just sort of with this tone of permanence and of inevitability, like this is going to happen. It's in my head and I've already decided that something bad is going to happen. This is a very sensitive issue, of course, because we're discussing mental illness. My first thoughts were to sort of discuss or examine how somebody who puts out music like that couldn't possibly know how the public perceives them. But then you also have to take in consideration that if you're dealing with mental illness, it is probably the highest form of narcissism. It is the highest form of, it is self-awareness to the point where the public perception of yourself is completely, you're oblivious to it. You can't even see it because it's all about your condition. You know you're fucked up. You know you're sick, but you don't care about anything else around you. And this is obviously what leads people to, to commit suicide and, to just forget about their family, forget about their friends. This is about me, my condition, and this has to stop now. Of course, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not anybody who you should listen to about the subject of mental depression, but I can shed some light on a matter of perspective, of sort of a reflection of how art relates to your real work. If I think of somebody like Rick Ross, for example, I think of somebody who is been known to separate who they are from the music that they make, or dare I say the art that they make. It's art no matter what the fuck you want to call it, okay? Obviously, he's Officer Ricky, and he shoots and he kills people and he does all this stuff, but there is a separate version of himself which he has indirectly sort of admitted to, or he just went along with, but there is this truth that I am not my music. I am this person when I am not behind the mic. Maybe Rick Ross isn't the best example. Maybe we should target somebody or use somebody else as an example who does have more of an artistic approach to their music. You take Kendrick Lamar, for example. Kendrick Lamar is somebody who has admitted that his music is completely a reflection of how he feels, and sometimes how he sort of gumbos situations in his life and people that he has known, and he mixes it all together to make songs that have very dark and very sort of gloomy themes. I think a part of that self-awareness, a part of that, yes, this is my real life bleeding into my art, I think is almost, it's very helpful. It's very helpful to say, I'm not going to ignore that there is a certain amount of therapy that goes into what I do. If you say that you are separate from the art, then I think that could be very damaging, because what you're doing is you're prolonging the situation. Because if you're an artist and you're dealing so much in the doings of writing and producing and constantly going to work, and this is how you earn a living, then a large amount of your time is being spent away from your condition, and you're not really getting at it, and you're not really accepting it. I guess if you have a mental condition like that, every single thing that you do bleeds into everything, and it's all related. So Cudi has checked himself into a rehab clinic, and he released a statement, which I'll read to you now. He says, "I'm not at peace. I haven't been since you've known me. If I didn't come here, I would have done something to myself. I simply am a damaged human being swimming in a pool of emotions every day of my life. There is a raging violent storm inside my heart at all times." Well, you know, one could argue that that sort of has, you know, that sort of has an artistic touch to it, too. It's just not a regular statement just saying, I need to come in here because I am fucked up. It almost sounds like a bit of a poem. But this is obviously sad news, but it's, you know, but it's also good in the sense that you have somebody who is aware enough to know that they have a problem and they're going in to get the necessary help. Now, this takes you back to a few weeks ago when he took aim at Kanye and he took aim at Drake. And then this alludes to 2 points that were made by Kanye and by Drake. Drake obviously having that OT Genesis line that he sort of flipped and said, you know, boy, you doing way too many drugs. You need to Cudi. You know, so obviously he knows that Cudi's been dealing with some narcotics or whatever like that. And then Kanye, you know, who made that comment and said, you know, we all deal with this dark emo stuff. And now it's clear that it's saying, hey, man, you know, you have your personal battles. I have my personal battles. I'm dealing with it. You should learn to deal with your own. I can't imagine Kanye being depressed because, in my opinion, I think he thinks way too highly of himself to ever be in a situation where his self-esteem is that low. But again, I don't truly understand depression on that clinical level. So maybe somebody who's far more educated on the topic could, you know, say something different. Did you always have a sense that Kid Cudi was depressed, despite telling me that you think Kid Cudi is shit? Okay, I understand that a lot of you are just gonna say Kid Cudi's shit. I don't want to listen to him. I don't care whatever he does. I heard that new single that he had out with single that he has out with Pharrell called Surfin'. It's a little bit more upbeat. It's something that I'm personally not a fan of, but maybe it's a change of pace for Cudi. But please tell me what you think on the matter. Are you a Kid Cudi fan? Did you suspect that he was depressed? How does this make you feel? And please follow me on Snapchat. It is my YouTube 2.0, and I will see you guys next time.